Hi, everybody. My name is Sophie Rottmann, and I work with the Mediae company based in Nairobi. At Mediae, we look at how we can support development and education through using media. I want to talk to you today about the work that we've been doing with MECS to promote clean cooking in Kenya. And what we've done is we've used our very basic edutainment model. This is the model we have at Mediae. So essentially, we're looking at how can we entertain our audiences while meeting their information needs. Build audiences over time through series, so people keep coming back to watch and learn more, interact with our audiences through SMS, phone, leaflets, the social media. And this allows us to serve the commercial and development sector while keep on getting funding and growing our numbers, essentially creating a sustainable model. Here are some of our main productions. For those Kenyans out there, you'll probably know Makutano Junction. It was our drama series that ran for 16 years, looking at different social political issues, governance, schooling, health. We have the No Zone, the children's school program, and Shamba Chef, which was our program on clean cooking and nutrition, which many of you will be familiar with. We worked very closely with the Alliance on that. So today I want to talk about Shamba Shape Up, which is our makeover program on smallholder farms. We have in Kenya a weekly audience of about 8 million viewers that watch every week, Saturday or Sunday in English or in Kiswahili. And there's a mobile backup system called iShamba that allows us to communicate with our audience in a two-way stream. So I've mentioned Shamba Chef. What we've done since our Shamba Chef is we've incorporated the clean cooking element and nutrition into every episode of Shamba Shape Up, so that when we're visiting a farm and we've identified there's an issue with the cow, the roofing and irrigation, we'll now look at how are we cooking it in this household and how can we maybe improve that. So just to take us a few steps back, why television? So there's three very simple reasons why we're doing television. One is that you get a far larger reach, particularly in Kenya, where we now have over 250 FM stations. It's very difficult to get a large audience on radio, especially at a time where you have a lot of listeners at prime time. So with Shamba Shape Up, we're reaching 4.2 million households weekly. If you're looking at least 2 people watching in a household, you get to about 8 million viewers. And that's a modest estimate. With radio primetime citizen, the best you can get really is about 700,000 listeners. And it's very difficult to get those primetime segments if you're not paying. So essentially that's when they do a lot of the advertising. So that's why we're with television, you get a larger reach. The second reason is that the people that have a television or have access to television are more likely to be in and out of the cash economy. So these are the people who are more likely to make the risk or take the risk, afford the risk to make a change in their farming practices or even get a new appliance. Also, what we find with our audience is that for our viewers, they find television to be their most trusted source of information, whereas people in lower socioeconomic groups who maybe just have access to radio, you'll find that their most trusted sources of information are friends or neighbors. So we really want to target these people that trust television to then spread the word and have a bit of an impact on the communities, on people who might not have access to television. And then 3, television is visual. So that's a really clear one, especially when you're looking at new cooking appliances. Seeing is believing. How does it work? How does the food look like? And so on. So you can really have a larger impact on something that's visual. So we've been working together with MECS. We looked at these are just some of the key issues we identified. So we really wanted to set the scene. How are people cooking at the moment? And what are some of the issues related to that? So the time constraints, the collection of wood, but also the lighting, the cooking itself, general hazards, pollution. But then looking now at if we're introducing a new cooking appliance, such as the electric pressure cooker, what is the safety around that? People, we found a lot of farmers are quite hesitant because they have very bad experience with pressure cookers. So what's the safety, items around that? What is the cost of cooking, both the appliance, but also the electricity costs, and then health issues. So those are broadly the categories we wanted to look at together. So here's just one clip I've pulled out for you where we look at some of these aspects in an episode.
I'm going to cook pigeon peas, mbaazi, using firewood.
Then I'm going to make the same pigeon peas using an electric pressure cooker.
Oh, is that a challenge?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So, let the cook-off begin. And there's no time to lose. First, I have to find some firewood. Luckily, I got some help from Anna's neighbor, Juliana Nyika.
There is no need for me to gather wood. I am joining our expert and farmer to get started on the electric pressure cooker. I've been using firewood, which has been expensive for me. Just a bundle, you produce hundreds, which you will spend to prepare one meal. And you know you have to prepare 3 meals in a day, basic meals. Yes. I also have a challenge of time.
Anne is right. Her neighbor tells me it will take us over 2 hours to prepare our pigeon peas. Firewood is a bit damp, so lots of smoke. But we can't leave as we need to keep adding firewood and water to the pot.
Yes. Your troubles are over. I have something we call an EPC. That is an electric pressure cooker. Yes. It's only going to take 40 minutes from the minute we start cooking to the end, and the investment is what is expensive. But in the long run, it is cheaper. Yeah. When you are cooking with it, the amount of fuel cost is so much lower than what, for example, what Tony is doing out there. Tony is using 100 shillings plus. We are going to cook the mbaazi, the same meal, same ingredients, and we are going to use guaranteed less than 20 shillings. Really. And I have an energy meter here, which is going to measure the fuel cost for us, and we will see the cost of that meal. Now, let's cover and put in the settings to cook the beans. Probably we need to go and check on Tony, because with us, we don't need to touch this appliance anymore. It frees you up to do other things. But Tony has to watch his pot.
Our pigeon peas have boiled. Now we need to start frying. It's so hot in here.
40 minutes and our food is cooked. The pressure cooker is keeping our food warm as we wait for Tony.
It's taken us close to 3 hours. I need to take my food to Carol.
Hey, look who's here. Tony, what happened to you?
Why?
Have you seen your face?
I was living.
Can you believe how much time we took to make ours? 40 minutes.
What?
Yes.
I slept there for over 3 hours, and yet there was a simple solution.
It took 40 minutes to cook with the electric pressure cooker compared to over 2 hours using wood. The electric pressure cooker used 12 shillings worth of electricity compared to around 100 shillings to buy firewood.
Yeah, so that was one of the formats we did, the cook-off, which proved to be quite popular because people could actually see a direct comparison between the traditional way and the EPC. After the 10th series, we did a review. So we did what we call the CAP study, the Knowledge, Attitude and Practice Survey. But we also got feedback from the different chefs that we worked with through the MECS program. So just now we saw Rairimu, who works with KPLC, and she actually has her own cooking demonstration. And her and the other chefs actually reported an increase of sales during this period, and much increased interaction through phones, so people calling them directly. We were also allowed to give out their numbers through our mobile backup, iShamba, but also personal messages, social media, and blogs, so we could really see there was attraction. We found in our CAP study that viewers were actually more likely than non-viewers to use the electric pressure cooker to cook, for example, githeri, so 62% versus 41%. Then we were asking what was the reason for not getting a pressure cooker, and we found that cost was actually still a key factor. So the cost of the appliance and cost of electricity was an issue, an issue that came up. And we generally had a very large interaction on Facebook and iShamba. So to give you an example, iShamba, we had over 120 interactions with people sending us messages. For example, dear iShamba, watching your program today, just wanted to know where to get the electric pressure cooker. So we could refer them to Agnes Wairimu and some of the other chefs that were on the program. So again, that just showed us, what are people interested in? Is it buying it? Is it, I want to know more about it? How does it work? We had a whole raft of questions around that. So after sitting back together with the MECS team and the chefs, we decided to do a few more episodes together, focusing this time on finance. So how could I finance it as an individual? Also comparing the EPC to other cooking appliances, especially the traditional pressure cooker, and looking at how we can actually target and involve young men because they're potential big, user of EPC. So here's an episode that we did on how to finance the electric pressure cooker.
My final task for the day is to see how I can help Zaina and the ladies of our local savings group afford an electric pressure cooker. And we have invited expert Dorothy Atieno from Nyalore Impact to help explain how.
I am here today to show you other ways that you can cook for your husband, for your family in a very easy and simple way. Without so much stress, without pain, without crying, without sneezing, without coughing. So instead of just contributing money and giving to each one, you can also now increase something small and acquire the electric pressure cooker for each one of you. And within a year, because already they are spending almost 5,000 in a month to cook. The electric pressure cooker is almost that amount. Yeah, you just add very little money and you have it. So I can imagine in a year, you will all have acquired an electric pressure cooker. Is that something good or not?
Wow! We can cook stews, fish, meat, or fry food with an electric pressure cooker. But today, we are going to simply demonstrate cooking family's favorite meal, ugali.
So we will cover now and wait for the water to boil so that we can make our ugali.
It took just a few minutes and the water was boiling nicely.
We know that ugali, it is just a matter of adding the flour and stirring. So after we have stirred and the water is well mixed with the flour, we will cover. When you are covering, we will not put pressure, we will just cover and let it cook.
It takes 7 to 10 minutes for ugali to be ready. And compared to 200 shillings for a day's firewood, this meal costs less than 10 shillings in electricity. But the real test is still to come. How does it taste? Is it ready?
Yeah. Women, you have seen, we have cooked the ugali.
Yes.
I didn't have any running tears in my eyes. I was not coughing. I was not sneezing. There was no smoke. The cooking went on within a very short time and so smoothly and easily.
Umefurahia ugali. Umefurahia kabisa.
So again, that was an episode that we found really, really well done and hopefully impactful. We're doing the research now, but again, you'll find in Kenya that probably 80% of women out in rural areas are part of some kind of savings group, a chama, table banking. So, this is a potential place to go to because again, they're saving quite a bit of money together. And like our expert said here, in a year's time, you could probably have everybody get an electric pressure cooker and save on expenses in the long term. So yeah, that was one way of looking at how you could actually finance the pressure cooker. So what's next? At the moment, we've just finished broadcasting this full series. So all episodes are now out and complete. They're on our website. They're available partly on downloadable short clips through our social media. We're currently doing the CAP study, which is due in November. So we're very curious to see what the impact of this series was, especially on those areas we identified as having a bit of a gap. And we're now starting to film the new series of Shamba Shape Up in Kenya, which will go out in air for the long rains in March 2022. But for Mediae altogether, we're really looking at scaling up Shamba Shape Up and taking this format to other countries. We know it works in Kenya. We've been doing this for 12 years here. So we're looking at how can we scale this into other countries. The Swahili version of our Kenyan program goes out in Tanzania where possible. But right now we've launched Shamba Shape Up in Uganda. So we're filming it entirely in English and Luganda locally. So we've just launched that this month. And that the series will go out in February and follow the main growing season for Eastern Uganda and Central Uganda. Next, we're looking to go to Zambia. That's in 2022-23. and then Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Africa. So we're very keen on having the clean cooking issue and nutrition at the, as a key part of Shamba Shape Up as we scale out, and would love to hear from you and work together with you as we do that. So thank you very much for your attention, and please do get in touch with us. I look forward to your questions and to discussing further with you. Thank you.